Wilson Morales from Black Women TV. Hey, Tom, it's good to see you.
Hey, Wilson, how are you?
Good. I know I see you every now and then here in New York, pre-pandemic.
Where are you now? Are you in New York or are you somewhere
still,
else?
still in New York, still in New York.
Great.
So, when you put the story together with the other writers, at what point did you decide to take it away from what the actual story it was based of?
Pretty early on. I felt like, as fascinated as I was with the Amanda Knox story, which I think you're alluding to, I thought, man, there had been enough written and said about it, right? And I just didn't want to wade into those waters, and I didn't want to tell a true life crime drama in that way. In fact, as you know, having seen the movie, I wanted this movie to be the life around a sensational crime in the past. Like, what's the consequence and the lives of the people it touches? That's really what I was interested in exploring. So that was like the jumping off point, and I think that was it.
We've seen Matt do plenty of his action films, but this is him totally doing something different in a way.
Yeah.
Monroe, from being from Oklahoma and learning to speak French.
Yeah.
How was that meeting trying to get him to be the star and then reinvent himself with his character?
Look, Matt's a smart guy, right? He's got a lot of options as an actor, and you're right. He's done just about everything. And I cast him in this role, or I reached out to him for this role because I wanted to play on that perception of him as the hero, as the guy who can get it done all the time and do the right thing, the guy who can, like, by any means necessary. We wanted to invert that on some level and subvert it, but I love that the audience is coming in with this perception of him. And, I think what's smart about Matt is he makes choices in roles that are going to challenge him. And I think he saw in Bill Baker a chance to do something very different, to play on some of the roles he'd been doing. Matt spoke pretty, articulately with me about it early on. If he just like, he's always looking for more in roles, a deeper emotional life. And he felt like, even though Bill's a pretty stoic guy, there's so much happening beneath the surface of his Stillwater that, like, he felt like he really had a chance. He was excited to go explore that. And you can just see it in his performance, right? It's heavy and it's dense and it's textured. It's exciting to watch.
The third act of any movie is what really sells, because there's the plot, the way it gets us interested, and there's the middle part, and it's just the ending that's gonna like sell it. And there's a bit of intensity in there because I didn't know the story, and I'm watching where it goes. And I'm like, what could happen? For you as a director, how much of importance do you place on the ending? To have the audiences walk out satisfied.
Yes, I get it. All three. Yeah, it's crucial, right? It's like having a great meal and then waiting too long for the check, and being like, damn, where'd that guy go? Did he go on break or something? Which I feel like you got to pay it off. And this one was particularly challenging, right? Because as you point out, like, we had all these different threads, right? And the movie sort of takes this detour in this really, like, personal, sort of intimate lifestyle that he starts living in French and then comes back in a way, back into the earlier storyline. It was like, how do we marry that? And how thematically do we sum it up in a way that's still really satisfying to an audience, and challenging to an audience, which I think this movie is. But, like, I think we as writers knew where we were going in the story. We knew that he was going to be faced with a choice that he is faced with, particularly at that football match where he has a choice to make, and he makes a very specific one. We wanted to examine why he makes that choice. What are the consequences? What's our perception of what he's doing? And what are the real consequences of that? And then where does that leave him in the very last scene of the movie? Like, I love that last scene. I just love all the heaviness, all the weight of his decisions that he's sitting with. There's one iconic shot of him coming back in and dropping his bags and looking around. He doesn't move. He's just taking in, like, and you just get a sense of the journey this guy's been on. The sort of, the movie starts in the ruins of a tornado, of a twister. And here we are back in something like that. But that to me is really compelling.
We can go over and over and go over certain scenes, but I won't, because we don't want to spoil it. Job well done. It's good talking to you. I'll talk to you hopefully on your next project.
I hope it's in person next time.
Yes. Have a good one.
Be well, you too.